Hey Bikini girls, you know how important it is to have good mobility in order to hit our mandatory poses and to make our transitions look smooth and seamless. So, we need thoracic and lumbar rotation, we need hip rotation and be able to sit deep into our hips. We need thoracic extension and lumbar extension, anterior pelvic tilt, shoulder external rotation and plantar flexion at the foot. There's a lot of mobility that we need. Let's start with thread the needle. Starting on all fours, reach one hand up towards the ceiling and then thread it between your hand and knee down towards the ground. Reach up and then slowly lower, twisting through to rotate through that spine, trying to get your shoulder flat on the ground. When you lift your arm up, inhale, and when you bring your arm through to twist, make sure you exhale here. Exercise 2, open the book. Laying in the position as you can see in the video, you're going to open up your arms, reaching to twist open to the other side, just like your arms are the opening of a book. Again, inhale as you bring your hands together, and then exhale as you open up and twist. Inhale as your hands come together, and exhale as you open up to twist. The next exercise is scorpions. So you start by laying face down on the ground with your hands in that box type shape as you can see. And then you're going to lift one leg and rotate it up and over, reaching behind you to create this twist, just like a scorpion's tail. The next exercise is a little sequence of upward dog, downward dog, and child's pose. Upward dog starts by really focusing on that lumbar extension stretch and thoracic extension by pushing the chest forward and trying to open up. And then downward dog involves pushing back, stretching through your spine and your hamstrings. And then lower yourself down to a child's pose where you get to rest and relax and stretch out your lower back. Repeat. Downward dog, upward dog, and child's pose. Continue to breathe throughout each and every one of these movements. Take your time to deepen into the stretch. Now for a little lunge complex for our hip flexors as well as some rotation through your spine. So following along, we're going through a hip flexor stretch and do some lunges with rotation. You can rotate towards the front leg as well as away from the front leg using your opposite hand. And then why not try this bind? Twisting through the spine, lengthening through the hips, and also getting a nice juicy stretch into those hip flexors. This is also a great stretch to incorporate into your chest stretching as well. So just showing this from a slightly different angle, rotating up through the spine. And then you can also perform this rotation with your hands going in the opposite direction. And then to further deepen the stretch, you can do a bit of a thread the needle type action into the lunge. So threading the needle here and then reaching up to finish the twist off. The next stretch involves some spinal rotations and glute stretching. So laying on your back, swing one leg over, crossing your body to one side, reach for that leg, and then cross to the other side, a little bit like your windscreen wipers. So have a play with how far up you lift your leg and how low you keep it as well, just based on however it feels the best for you. That's giving you a nice juicy stretch. Part 2 is to do a glute stretch. So cross one leg over the thigh as shown and reach through that little hole that's created and pull your knee into your chest. And then from here you keep the bind and you're going to rotate, dropping both legs over to one side to form a twist. And then keeping that bind as is, you're actually going to rotate to the other side as well. This will now create a bit of a stretch through your hip flexors on that top leg side. Repeat on the other side, creating that figure of 4 stretch, pulling your knee in close to your chest, keep the bind, rotate over to one side. This will deepen the stretch into your glutes. Maintain that bind as you rotate to the other side, and this will deepen the stretch into your hip flexors. Another juicy hip and glute stretch is our pigeon pose. Aim to have that front leg as close to parallel to the front of the mat as you can. Deepen the stretch by folding forward and trying to sit over the top of your leg as opposed to letting yourself sit backwards or rolling off that leg. Then you can try this bind. This will also deepen the stretch into your upper back and your chest as well. And then wish me luck. This is a really challenging posture here, as you can see. So on the other side, again, we're going to try and keep that front leg nice and parallel, and then see how my hip is sitting on the mat. If it wasn't, I would place a block underneath my glute that is closest to the camera right now to help support and keep your hips as square as possible. So how it is right now, you could add a block underneath my hips there. And then we go for the bind. And then finally, a really good stretch for those hip flexors and quad muscles is our couch stretch. So you can perform this with your foot on a couch or up against a wall as you've seen here. And you're going to try to get your knee as close to the wall as you possibly can, and then squeeze your glutes and try and get your back up against that wall without arching through your lower back here. So you're trying to get your body as close as you can to the wall from your shoulders all the way down to your knee without hyperextending through that spine. Placing your arms up above head, as I was just doing before, will also help to deepen that stretch. So again, have a play, place your arms up above your head, or maybe arch over to one side. And there you go, bikini girls, some key mobility stretches to improve your posing routine.